Welcome into Salt Lake Community College for the 6A girls semifinal between the Copper Hills Grizzlies and the Lone Peak Knights. Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Dane Stewart. We've got a great semifinal coming up for you here today on the WATCHit Network on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com. The winner advances to the state championship tomorrow at 4 p.m. right here at Salt Lake Community College and on the WATCHit Network to take on the Bingham Miners. And you start by introducing the Lone Peak Knights. This is a team that really came on in the back part of region play, including a big win over the said Bingham Miners. And in this tournament, they have been impressive. They come in with one of the state's best scorers in Maddie Eaton, and Copper Hills is going to have to account for her. As you think of the Copper Hills Grizzlies, this is a team that's been a top 5 team for the last 3 or 4 years. But when they've been to the tournament, they've had good runs, but they have yet to reach the top of the mountain. Is this year the year? They certainly hope so. They are led by a real great scorer in Brianna Gillen, and then they have a couple of real great complementary pieces. The point in Eliana Tafisi, and then Lanisi Finianganofo in the post. This is a complete Copper Hills bunch. They've been on a roll in the tournament. Can they take care of business today against the Lone Peak Knights? These two met just 2 years ago in the quarterfinals. It was Copper Hills defeating Lone Peak, but they needed a big fourth quarter to do it. A rematch of that game coming in the semifinal, the winner advancing to the state championship. It's the Knights and the Grizzlies coming up next on the WATCHit Network on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com. It'll be Finianganofo and Abby Conley in the center circle. The Grizzlies in the home white uniform and the Lone Peak Knights in the road black. And boy, fortunate. Tafisi nearly could have gotten called for an over and back. I thought she secured that in the front court and moved into the back court, but no whistle, though there is a whistle immediately. It'll be a personal foul called on Jane Leroy for Lone Peak. Inbounded to Finianganofo. First points of the ball game coming from the junior post for Copper Hills. In the post with Conley. Makes the move, can't finish. Finianganofo with the rebound. Tafisi up quickly with Brianna Gillen on the drive. Hit off the corner of the backboard, and Finianganofo able to tap it out to Tafisi. Tafisi going off glass, no good. Loose ball, and it's Conley coming away with it. Excuse me. It was Conley coming away with it, though her pass up the floor was too far in front and out of play. That was Maddie Eaton on the run for Lone Peak. The transfer from Maple Mountain, if memory serves correct me. It's times like this when I miss Dusty Litster. He'd know that as Finianganofo makes a nice cut in the paint, but off target. And it's Lone Peak coming up the floor. Near side with Conley. She's cut off. Able to outlet out to Easton. Sid Gunnarsson here for Lone Peak. Able to find Easton in the paint. Her shot off target, and Finianganofo with another rebound. Lanicia, player who's not uncommon to go for a double-double. She's a great rebounder for Copper Hills and a real good scorer. She has 2 points as that turnaround was off target, and it will be Lone Peak basketball. High post with Conley, and she's able to feed it down low Great cut without the basketball by Leroy to get open at the rim. And Lone Peak with their first bucket of the ball game. The screen from Emily Larson. Kick out, corner three on the way. That was short. Tafisi gives it off. Here's Gillen with the floater. Just off the side, gets her own rebound. The putback is short. Gillen trying to track it down and will do so for Copper Hills. That drive, couldn't get it to go. Eaton pushing the tempo here for Lone Peak. Now the Knights will slow things up. .5:11 left here in our first quarter. That ball able to be tracked down by Easton. In the corner three from Gunnarsson is short, and Copper Hills running again. Here comes Tafisi. Nice step through. And that called out off of Copper Hills. It'll be Lone Peak basketball. As Miley Hunt checks on for Lone Peak. Here's Eaton with the floater. That came across the rim, and a foul on the rebound called against the Knights, and that is on Leroy, and that is the second on Jane Leroy. 4:31 left here in our first quarter. That's a big call. Going to bring Leroy off the floor as Summer Farrell will check in. For Coach Warner, trying to build this Lone Peak program. Missed out on the playoffs last year, if I recall correctly, is Gillen inside and couldn't finish there. As we approach the midway point here in quarter number one. That shot, no good from Conley. Tafisi able to hit the jumper. In transition, and Copper Hills retaking the lead here. Eaton able to dribble around, gets to the rack. Maddie Eaton. We talk about what a great scorer she is, and how about that when she went through 4 different Grizzlies on the play. I think 3, but even at that, after navigating through the 3 Grizzlies, she was wide open at the net. As Tafisi tried to leave that one over for Emily Larson, and it's Lone Peak with the steal. Eaton, kick out, 3-point attempt from Easton. Off the front of the rim, Easton able to track it down and tap it to Maddie. Eaton, that shot no good. And the ball was tapped out by Copper Hills. It'll stay here with the Knights. Sam Rollins has checked in for Copper Hills. Got her back to the inbound here, keeping her head on a pivot. As Eaton around the horn to Farrell. That one nearly broken up by Gillen. Good entry, kicked out. Nice patience here by Lone Peak as Eaton trying to dribble through traffic and is taken away by Tafisi. Up ahead for Gillen. First point of the afternoon for Brianna Gillen. Conley out with Easton. And that one, boy, fortunate bounce, able to be recovered by Hunt. Kick out for a corner three from Conley, no good, and Gillen able to secure the rebound. What a take by Tafisi, count the bucket and the foul. Farrell picking up the personal, the third team and the first personal on Summer. And an opportunity for a three-point play here for Tafisi at the line. As Tafisi misses the free throw, the lead remains 4 for Copper Hills. Near side with Easton. They get this in the paint and it's blocked away. Maddie Eaton in traffic had Carlin Shepard break things up. Gillen on the drive. And it's a 10-4 lead for Copper Hills, feeling good. 1 minute left here in the first. 30-second timeout. One minute left here in the first quarter. And Copper Hills is starting to feel comfortable. Done a great job with the rebounding. They've forced a couple of, well, the defense has been really good. It's limited shots. Eaton with just 2 points for Lone Peak. And they've been able to get out on the run, the Grizzlies have. Eaton in the paint again, has to kick it out, and good recovery by Copper Hills to shut down any space for a shot. There's the loft to Eaton, and backside it's Shepard able to knock it away. The Grizzlies were running, now they'll slow things up. Here's Tafisi, gets around the point. Eliana Tafisi having a great first quarter, 6 points for her, and the lead 12-4 for Copper Hills. 10 seconds left here in the first. High screen, Eaton trying to split the pair, she lost it. To the floor, turns it over. Time as they get it up the floor with Rollins, the lay-in short. And with that, the first quarter comes to a close. Copper Hills with a lead, 12-4 over Lone Peak. You're watching the 6A semifinal on the WATCHit Network on live.ksl and deseretnews.com. Start of the second quarter, and the first quarter has left Lone Peak looking for answers. Copper Hills, the defense has been incredibly impressive. They've done a great job on Maddie Eaton, who has just 2 points. As that shot no good, knocked out of play, it'll stay here with the Knights as the Copper Hills, that whole side disagreed with that call. In the corner, Gunnarsson thought about the shot, but instead passed out of it. Another block, but Lone Peak able to sustain it. Here's Eaton for 3. No good, and the rebound secured by by Shepard. Up the floor quickly. Emily Larson with the first points of the second quarter. The lead pushed up to 10. Copper Hills basketball. Gillen from straight away, driving around Eaton. Boy, that rimmed out again. And Gillen's gonna pick up the foul here. Boy, Brianna Gillen, she's had a couple of good looks and just has not been able to get them to go down. I mean, she's got 4 points, so I don't wanna, oversell it too much. But she's had a couple right at the rim that have just betrayed her a little bit. Boy, tough move, and somehow Conley able to get that over the front of the rim. And real important points there for Lone Peak as able to get this back to single digits, but their defense. And really, it's been pretty good in the half court. Some fast break opportunities for Copper Hills have led to some easy points. As an illegal screen up top from Finian Ganofo. Be her first personal, the second team foul. And it will be Lone Peak basketball. A reminder, in our first semifinal, in case you missed it, Bingham trailed Fremont by a similar score. Although it was in the first quarter of their matchup and Bingham came back to win. Can Lone Peak do the same thing here in our second 6A semi? And we've got an offensive foul called on Maddie Eaton. That'll be her first. This was away from the basketball. I think it was I'm not quite certain what it was. It was an illegal screen, but not positive on that. As at the rim, Gillen. Now with 6. They continue to find opportunities for her to get to the rim. That one knocked away, a loose ball that Eaton is able to gather, able to pass out of it. And Copper Hills defensively right now, they're just all over the floor. Difficult for Lone Peak to really get any space here in this first half. Boy, nice move getting around that time was Abby Conley. She's got all 4 points in this second quarter for Lone Peak. This here is Tafisi. Oh, great move as Larson came around the curl. She now has 4 and a timeout taken by Lone Peak. 18-8, it's all Copper Hills. Full timeout. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. 4:58 left here in our first half. 18-8 the lead for Copper Hills, and Coach Warner coming out of the timeout. Not the way she would have liked. Gillen with the steal. Left the shot short. Nice job getting back there by Jane Leroy. Leroy had to hit the bench early in that first quarter with 2 personals. She's back on the floor now. As here's a corner 3. That shot was long from Easton, and the rebound is to Copper Hills. Tafisi with Finian Ganofo. Plays out with Gillen, guarded by Maddie Eaton. Gillen uses that screen, gets in the paint. Now help as she'll kick this out. Baseline shot is strong, and a great job securing that on the backside. That shot from Tafisi is too strong. The rebound is to Lone Peak. Pull up from Leroy. No good, and the rebound to Emily Larson for Copper Hills. Tafisi, what a pass to Finian Ganofo. Largest lead of the ball game for Copper Hills, and then it's Tafisi with the steal, and Leroy in desperation picks up her third. Copper Hills basketball, and Coach Morley has to be thrilled with what he is seeing from this group here in the semifinal. Would set up. We were early in the first half. We'll get to that in the second half. Here's Rollins on the drive. Too strong. That ball loose. Gillen, the little 8-footer, couldn't get it over the front of the rim, and it's Hunt coming down with it for Lone Peak. Farrell back up with Eaton. High post now over with Easton as her drive is cut off. Here's Eaton with the turnaround. That shot off the mark, as you wonder if that length of Emily Larson disrupted the timing. And speaking of timing, as Copper Hills down the floor quickly, 2 looks at the rim, neither will go for the Grizzlies. Good entry, Hunt off the glass. First point of the ball game for the sophomore Hunt. And that lead now cut to 10. Tafisi around the screen from Larson. Boy, a tough finish. Hunt certainly made her adjust on that one as Lone Peak off running. And that ball just able to be saved. Boy, I thought maybe had stepped across the end line, but Eaton is there to regather, and it's a timeout taken by Copper Hills as a nice run by Lone Peak. Gets it down to 8 with just inside of 2 minutes left to play. Full timeout, Copper Hills. We'll be back with the 6A semifinal on the WATCHit Network. After trailing by 12, a pair of buckets for Lone Peak, a couple nice defensive stands, and this thing's in single digits as Finian Ganofo with the drive, the floater, no good, And a rebound secured by Farrell. Lone Peak running up the floor. Here's Easton trying to step through. Certainly contact there, no whistle either way, and Copper Hills now coming up the floor with Brianna Gillen. As she gets this up to Larson. Larson will square up and take it off the glass. 6 points for Larson, all of them coming here in this second quarter. 5 team fouls for Lone Peak, only 2 for Copper Hills with 1:15 left here in our opening half. Here is Maddie Eaton. Tafisi defending her. And another steal by this Copper Hills defense. Tried to send it above, over the top, and a nice job by Conley, who was step for step with Finian Ganofo. Will lead to a 3 from Farrell. That was short and out of play. Inside of a minute left here in our first half. Madison Brown, a senior, checks in for Copper Hills as Rollins will head to the bench. Here's Finian Ganofo up high. Thought about this shot. Now here's Gillen. Again, Eaton defending her. Gillen, the turnaround. Help defense came from Hunt, and it's Hunt with the rebound. Good minutes today for Hunt. Nice length on the interior. Certainly is an advantage for Lone Peak. As Hunt in the high post now, but that zone does a nice job of not allowing Elaine to get her the ball. There it is, inside to Hunt. The turnaround left it short. And Gillen with the board. Inside of 10 seconds, Gillen around the back. And that one out off of Gillen. That is great defense by Farrell, coming down to knock it away from Gillen, and then it went off her foot, and with 3.5 left, it'll be Lone Peak basketball. Tafisi putting some press on. You do have Hunt at midcourt. Eaton from half court. Good if it goes, it will not. And with that, we've hit the half. 22-12, Copper Hills has the lead as we head to halftime in the 6A girls semifinal. Coming to you from Salt Lake Community College on the WATCHit Network on live.ksl and desertnews.com. And welcome back to the 6A semifinal. Coming to you live from Slick on the WATCHit network on live.ksl and DesertNews.com. Dane Stewart and Dusty Litzner.
Hey.
Welcome in. Folks, I told you he was on his way. He got here at halftime in perfect timing. The winner of this one gets a chance to advance to play the Bingham Miners in the state championship tomorrow. Dusty, Lone Peak, Maddie Eaton's had a tough go in that first half, only 4 points. If you're Lone Peak, I know you kind of missed some of that first half. What do you try to do to get her going more?
Well, I think he's got to get her easier shots. I watched the last few minutes on my way in, and I think he's got to get her better shots and closer to the rim. She's got to get a little more extended.
Well, in the defensive end for Lone Peak, it really wasn't bad in the half-court set. They gave a lot of transition buckets, but I think that might be the first made three by Copper Hills, and that certainly won't help things for the Knights. This ball lost out of bounds.
That's a tough one there. You got to take care. You want to take care of the basketball. No one's trying to turn the ball over. Gunnarsson, here's the thing with Eaton. You want her to get going, but if you start forcing it with her, that's not going to help either. And so it's got to be within the offense. But I would be calling a lot more things for her up top to get her loose. But you have to turn it up on defense here if you're Lone Peak. And if you're Copper Hills, if other girls other than Gillen's going to score, it's a good thing.
A bit of a heat check there for Tafisi. Just couldn't get that to go, and then kicked out. It'll stay with Lone Peak.
But how good does this got to feel for Copper Hills? We talked about it in the bracketology and throughout the year that this is a program that for the last few years banging their head on the ceiling trying to bust through to get to the championship, and right now playing a team that they feel like they can handle. And they're playing fairly well.
Well, and the reality is that shot just rims out for Conley. The putback won't go, and it's been that kind of a first half. Is a dual possession here called, so we'll head to the arrow. But to that point, Dusty, I mean, if you're Copper Hills, how hard does it have to be focused when you just saw Bingham beat Fremont? I mean, if I'm Coach Moore, I'm like, I'd rather play Bingham than Fremont, and now that would be the matchup, but you got to get through Lone Peak because we've got another dual possession here.
So they'll go to Copper Hills, and how frustrating that possession there. And I think what it does is I think it refocused Copper Hills. It's like, well, we thought we were getting Fremont. Anything can happen. If you don't come into it ready to go, our opponent's going to be geared up and ready to go. If you're not ready, you're going to drop it. A nice cut by Gillen.
She's had a couple of those right at the rim that have just been tough to find the bottom of the net. And another one there on what was an uncontested lay-in. Here is Eaton. You see Tafisi coming up on her quickly. Lone Peak has had pretty good ball movement, but the defense by Copper Hills has just been so active. That's the most space they've had in a half-court set, and it's Leroy able to convert.
Yeah, nice job there by Leroy. It's one thing you move the ball around and you end up with that jump shot, but that was a nice in-rhythm J. You make that move and you kind of all that ball movement, you hope to get something close to the hoop, but that was right in rhythm.
Too strong by Finian Ganofo. And the rebound brought in for Lone Peak. And the Knights are running down quickly. Conley on the drive, a foul. I was looking to see if this was on the shot, and they say it was. So to the free throw line will head Abby Conley.
If you watched local basketball last night, you know that no lead is safe even with 8 minutes left in the ball game. And Coach, I know it's not Nancy Celius anymore, but it was. Watch her brother and the Cougars go down last night. So she knows her team. Just keep fighting, keep going. You got to make shots here at the free throw line.
The irony, Dusty, is at one point in the early second quarter, I'm not certain if you were in the building yet or not, it was the same score that we had in the Fremont-Bingham game, and Bingham came back. And the question was, could Lone Peak do the same thing? But both teams have certainly been off the pace of the scoring that we saw in that first matchup as Conley able to hit them both.
What you got to do, score with the clock stopped no matter how early it is. And here for Copper Hills, I saw them against Riverton. Brianna Gillen, she's the best player on the floor, but she's not going to force it either. You got to have good sets, nice, clean possessions, and not handing the ball over in turnovers.
The only amazing thing is this is just a 9-point ball game as Tafisi on the drive draws the foul. But, I mean, this game feels like there's a much larger spread than there actually is, as Barker will pick it up.
And Eliana Tafisi, of course, the younger sister of MJ Tafisi, the UW Husky, that welcomed in another Utah a couple weeks ago. Doesn't get that one to go, but this girl, she got such a terrific handle for being a youngster.
And really, you've seen her take more of a scoring role this year for Copper Hills as well. And has really helped to round out this offense for Coach Morley, though she misses them both there.
Well, if you're Lone Peak, you get zeros on one end, you got to put 2s and 3s up on this end.
Leroy playing with the 3 personals, gets this into Conley. Conley off the glass. 8 points for Abby Conley, and it's down to 7.
That's imperative here for Copper Hills. Have a good possession. This ball's got to finish up in the hands of 23.
Here is Brianna Gillen, defended by Eaton. Good defense by Maddie. And it's left short. Eaton now on the run with Lone Peak. Well, unfortunately, this ball will stay here with the Knights. Eaton had that open pull-up from 6, just uncustomary left it.
I think in her mind, she hasn't been shooting overly well. I got to get as close to the hoop as possible, and it kind of almost backfired on her. But good defense here on Gillen. Here's the thing, Copper Hills leaving opportunities out here, nearly a steal.
Eaton the pull-up in the paint, hits it. 6 points now for Maddie.
You give good players and good teams enough chances, sooner or later they're going to find themselves.
It's a 6-0 run right now by Lone Peak. Gillen, this is where you mentioned she's got to take over. Spin move defended by Eaton, and solid finish for the senior Brianna Gillen.
Brianna's going down the floor thinking to herself, that's just how it goes. The toughest of my last 3 shots is the one that goes down. That was a great move by Brianna Gillen. You see how skilled she is going to Dixie State. Going to play with a really good point guard from up here as well. Mariah Martin.
Oh boy, Conley was able to get the baseline but couldn't finish. Had an uncontested, that reverse certainly added to the level of difficulty. And it's Tafisi on the run. Wouldn't go down. Finianganofo the putback.
Those are just frustrating, I don't want to say back-breaking plays, but those are momentum-regaining plays that we've seen the last little bit, especially there. You don't get the layup, but Finianganofo's there, and she gets the reverse.
That lead pushed back up to 9 here. As we're past the midway point here in our third. Gunnarsson, boy, tough shot. Wouldn't go down, and Rollins with the board.
The 2 tough shots that would not fall in the last 2 possessions for the Knights.
Tafisi pull up left short. Lone Peak up the floor quickly. 3-point shot from Eaton. No good, and the rebound brought in for Finianganofo. Gillen trying to get around Eaton, looking for help. Thrown into traffic, but able to be saved by Tafisi.
Yeah, Brianna got away with one there. You're a defender at the top of the key. That ball's come from the baseline. That's got to be heading the other way. She got lucky on that one. Very fortunate.
Straightaway 3 from Rollins. No good, and it's Tafisi with the offensive rebound, but couldn't finish.
About 8 points here in this quarter that Copper Hills players are going to be having nightmares about.
Eaton, a hard foul by Finianganofo. That one right at the hip. And it'll send Eaton to the line here to shoot 2. As Finianganofo picks up her second.
Nice job of staying aggressive. And you talk about what would you do to get Maddie Eaton going? Get her to the free throw line. It's one of the best places to find your rhythm if you're a good free throw shooter. I wasn't. But if you're a good free throw shooter, it's a great place to find your rhythm.
And on the year, Maddie Eaton, 75%. So not a bad strategy at all to try to get her to the line and get that feel, that rhythm going for her. Uncustomarily cool afternoon shooting from the floor for Maddie. Second one coming up.
We'll split the pair, so an 8-point game, and again, it's defensive end. And Copper Hills have missed a bunch of shots at the rim. They'd get those in the fourth quarter. You just keep attacking.
Difficult shot there on the runner from Brown. Hunt with the board. Conley, that baseline closed down, and she just lost it out of bounds. Great help defense coming over that time by Shepard.
Yeah, kind of dribbled into no man's land there, going down the baseline. Great job of shutting it off by Copper Hills defenders. And just pulled up the dribble, let off her foot.
There's Tafisi, boy, nice crossover. Shepard Left-hander couldn't get it to go, but Hunt will pick up the personal, her first, and it will send Carlin Shepard to the line.
A few possessions ago, talked about Tafisi's handle. How about the Tim Hardaway killer crossover into the lane? And then it's not just forcing it, right? She finds her teammate, gets her to the line.
You talked a little bit about Gillen, but it's really kind of the culture of this Copper Hills team, the unselfish nature. No one's really out there looking for their buckets. And you can see it on the floor. You see it game to game, Dusty. When you go and you review the box scores, it's a different leading scorer seemingly every night. The balance and the camaraderie of this group, at least from the outside, we aren't in the locker room, but seems apparent over the course of their year and has been a big factor for their success. 3-point shot here, short. Shepard secures it and taken away. Oh my goodness, that's a quick whistle on a jump ball.
Here's what I'll say though. All 3 jump balls in this quarter have been quick. So if you're going to be quick, then be quick.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it all the time. Like, it just needs to be, if that's what you're going to do, fine.
Yeah. Very fair. Either way, it is Lone Peak basketball, and that's just easy off the inbound play. I don't know if Copper Hills was ready for it. Hunt with the bucket.
If you can execute off the baseline, you're going to get easy 2 points. A great job there from Lone Peak, and a very strong quarter here from the Lady Knights.
Tafisi trying to answer. That skipped across, Eaton with the rebound.
Big possession for both these teams here. Been the closest it's been is 5 points.
Connolly, the runner. Too strong and a foul on the rebound. That's a good call. I thought Madison Brown with a little push on the inside.
Yeah, and I agree. You're going to have that loose ball foul, and that forearm just got stuck right in the hip there.
Dusty, Lone Peak had 12 points in the half. They've scored 11 in the quarter, in the third. They've almost outdone their offensive output in that whole first half. They've looked much more comfortable here in the second half.
Much more comfortable, and they haven't forced it. And that's why I was curious to watch what would happen. You're down double digits coming into the quarter, and you're wanting to fix what's going on, and then haven't forced anything. You've only seen a couple of shots, maybe I would say are ill-advised, but not that many.
Hunt with the shot from 15, and look out, folks. We've got a ball game. 1:15 left here in the third. Tafisi off the high screen. Gets her own rebound. The putback won't go. Right now, there's something on that west rim, Dusty.
Well, there's 14 points in this quarter that have come off that rim.
And in the first half, it was Lone Peak saying the same thing. Eaton a deep three. Couldn't get it. Finian Ganofo now leading the charge. A runner in the paint. Couldn't get it to go, and an offensive foul called on Sam Rollins, her first.
Yeah, Copper Hills, this is the quarter of just absolute frustration. The shots just won't drop. They're getting a couple of fouls on rebounds. And if you're the Grizzlies, it's just keeping your wits about you. You probably got 1, maybe 2 possessions left in this quarter. Solid defense, put up a 0. Doesn't have to get points on this other end. Just get out of here with a 4-point lead is kind of that mindset right now.
Be interesting to see if Lone Peak decides to hold for this last possession, or if they'll look to get points at any point they can. They'll try the second route. Leroy's three, no good. Lone Peak can't bring it in. It'll be Copper Hills' ball.
2 good looks at 3 that give them the lead and wouldn't drop. I've often wondered on this discolored floor if the girls get lost.
Yeah.
I remember a couple years ago we talked about that because Eaton's 3. Now, granted, we haven't watched her a ton this year to see if that's just normal range for her. But
and I think in the semi, you've had a couple games on the floor, you maybe start to get accustomed to it. But in the first round, I think it certainly is an issue. Gillen on the drive. Boy, taking on 3 Lone Peak defenders and couldn't get the finish. Another dual possession here. The arrow will keep it here with Copper Hills with 7 seconds left.
I used to joke, and I mean it as a joke, that when you call girls basketball, you just knew where the possession arrow was. The last few years, that hasn't been the case.
Yeah.
This is the first game in a long time I actually knew who had the possession arrow without having to look down. It's our 4th change here in the quarter.
Rollins inbounding. Finian Ganofo couldn't handle it. And it's Lone Peak ball with 5.4 left in the quarter.
Interesting to see if Copper Hills keeps pressure on this end of the floor and not allow a runner. Because Lone Peak, I just lobbed the ball toward the midcourt.
Gunnarsson. Excuse me. That was Leroy. Able to get it away, but it won't go. And the third quarter comes to a close. A big advantage in the third for Lone Peak, and it's a 4-point lead for Copper Hills. The fourth quarter coming up next in the girls 6A semifinal. Welcome back here to Salt Lake Community College, the girls 6A semifinal. We've got a doozy of a fourth quarter coming up. Dane Stewart, Dusty Litster here. Copper Hills leading Lone Peak 29-25. And it's a 13-7 third quarter that gets Lone Peak back in this ballgame. Can they capitalize over these last 8 minutes to get back to the state championship? The winner will take on the Bingham Miners tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
It's amazing. No matter who wins this, Bingham's playing what they would consider a rival.
Isn't the storyline fantastic? I mean, Lone Peak and Bingham split the season series. Copper Hills got the win over Bingham, but it was a call inside of a second left that sent them to the line to win it. Either way, I think we're set up for a doozy of a 6A state championship as Boyd Leroy had a look at the rim, just couldn't get it to go. An early foul trouble for Jane, Dusty. I wonder if that's taken her out of her rhythm here. She's had a couple looks late third, early in the fourth that couldn't get to drop.
I think right now you're just feeling that pressure. You know what's on the line as Brianna, beautiful move. Great move by Brianna Gillen, but I think a lot of it's that pressure. It's like here comes that shot and just within 2 points. You know, you've been battling it back and you know where you want to go. This is a pressure-filled 8 minutes here for these young ladies.
And if you're Lone Peak, you could argue they really haven't had a lot of pressure in this tournament. The number 3 seed out of Region 4 is Connolly able to hit that jumper about 15 feet, 31-27.
Unless they watched our bracketology, the only way they feel any kind of expectation here today.
I think it's the great pressure remover, Dusty. There's only one team that gets pressure from our bracketology videos, and that one team is not on the floor in this one as a travel and a turnover by Copper Hills.
Brianna did not like that call, and it's kind of one of those in-between ones. She picked the ball up as she was going into that pirouette there in the key. It's a tough one against Brianna Gillen, but again, for Lone Peak, they had what, 4 possessions to get inside of 4 points. Weren't able to do it. And can they get that solid possession here to cut this down to a single possession?
Little 1-3-1 here from Copper Hills. Baseline, shot no good, going with the board.
Yeah, Copper Hills will take that all day. You run that 1-3-1, and what you give up is what you saw there just for that minute. If you get that second person on a high-low, you got an easy 2.
Boy, tough runner from Tafisi, and it's Rollins with the putback. First bucket of the ball game for Sam Rollins, and it's a big one.
Sam Rollins, one of the top 3 scorers on this team.
Eaton tried to answer off the front of the rim. Now here's Maddie again, and an offensive foul on Maddie Eaton.
You saw that one coming, and Eaton really frustrated. The block charge call, as even the lieutenant governor knows from me, is the hardest one, but made easier because he's got a halo here. We're taking notes.
Maybe this is a test site, huh?
Well, the next 2 weeks is, and it should be.
Yeah. Dusty, to your point, Maddie averaging 19 points per game. And she really came on in the back half of region play. We talked about 36 points in their win over Bingham. She has just 7 today for Lone Peak.
I think for her, feeling a little bit too, comes from a great line of ball players, mainly out of Springville, with the Maple Mountain, and then up to Lone Peak just this year.
Gillen, another tough runner. Gets it to fall. 12 now for Brianna Gillen, and a timeout taken by Lone Peak. 35-27, 5:34 left in the 6A girls semifinal on the WATCHit Network. coming out of the Lone Peak timeout, and it's been a 6-2 fourth quarter for Copper Hills to get some distance back between they and the Knights. Lone Peak with some work to do here with 5:34 left.
Yeah, you had that great third quarter from Lone Peak where they outscored their first half output just in the third quarter. Have yet to get off the bench here in the fourth.
Leroy, another offensive foul. That is number 4 on Leroy. And a pair of charge calls here in the last minute. Big differentiators for Copper Hills.
I mean, these are swing plays. This is an opportunity. Copper Hills comes down, puts the shot, puts the ball in the hole. That hill gets really, really steep here for the Knights.
Copper Hills able to take advantage of the full court press as Emily Larson finishes at the rim.
Break the full court press without really having to put the ball on the floor. Great job there by Copper Hills and that press breaker. And now push this right back up to a double-digit lead.
Leroy able to get around, a nice move. Able to finish at the rim. As they're right back to that full court pressure.
Well, Coach Warner, she wanted to see a little bit more, something out of that full court press.
Boy, a good look inside for Emily Larson. Contact. As the call came after the miss, Hunt will pick up her second. A 15 foul on Lone Peak, but foul on the shot. Larson to the line for 2.
One of those things where Hunt's got to feel like she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. A little bit of a hip check there. Putting Larson at the line for the free throws. But for Lone Peak, frustrated. You finally get that bucket, it's come down and get a stop. Now the shots that weren't dropping in the third quarter are falling for Copper Hills.
A game for Emily Larson. We talk about the balance of Copper Hills and their ability to get scoring from all over the floor. She's got 10 points tonight. Second only to Brianna Gillen's 12. 6 of those coming back in the second. There's a foul here committed by Lone Peak, and that's just their 15th, or on Tafisi, my apologies, and Copper Hills, their 15th foul.
Feel a little bit of that anxiety picking up in the gym, just a little bit. 4:41 left in the season for either one of these teams, and right now for Copper Hills is locking down on defense. Give up 2s, don't worry about 3s.
Here's Easton, will pull up. That shot short. Boy, looked like an offensive rebound, but no one secured it. Now finally Eaton does. And a foul on the play, and I think this will go on to Fisi. And if it does, it'll be her 3rd personal. Excuse me, it was Emily Larson, so her first.
Oh, it's 6, all right, they had it late, or had it early.
Yeah, they're quick here. I got caught on that in the first semi.
Dan Barney's on his game.
3-pointer from Eaton. There it is. Is that the one that helps get the shot to fall for Maddie Eaton? A big 3.
Again, it's got to get done on the defensive end. If you're Lone Peak and if you're Copper Hills, you're not in any rush at all. No shot clock in Utah High School basketball. There's no reason to rush through a possession. You got to force Lone Peak, especially with 5 fouls. They start fouling you to elongate this game, and you score points at the clock stop.
Emily Larson again. Boy, great movement of the basketball. Just patience in creating that space, and it's a 30-second timeout by Copper Hills. 41-32 with 3:48 left. And we'll stay here. Dusty, your thoughts on that last play execution for the Grizzlies?
Well, that's a great job. What you want down the block is you're able to get the defender out in front of you, right? She's running that zone. You're not backing her down. You have the front, great entry pass. That's just good ball movement. It's good high-low action on that play.
It's a great job of utilizing the spacing of the zone against it, right?
Absolutely.
Just breaking it down. We saw Bingham do that. Similar but different in that first matchup and really helped them to come back to defeat Fremont. And right now looking like Copper Hills going to advance to that state championship. Just to give us a little bit of a preview, Bingham, Copper Hills, if that should be the case of what we might see in the state championship tomorrow.
That you got to hang around until the very last tenths of the second of the ball game is what you got to know. And actually, what I think you're going to have, if it holds, Maddie Eaton doesn't go crazy here and all of a sudden something happens, is you're going to have 2, I think, one of your better attended girls basketball championship games. Copper Hills and Bingham, not in the same region, but they are rivals.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily like each other. And a chance to, they're going to be back in the same region next year. And so I think you're going to have 2 good crowds. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to have Bingham trying to right the loss from a year ago, which you already did against Fremont. Can you keep your wits about you and then go finish the job and go get the championship? For Copper Hills, it'll be the first time back there and a chance to go do take care of some unfinished business on their own end. Not just getting there; they want to win it. But they got to close out Lone Peak here.
They do, and after that last Eaton 3, you wonder if that will help Lone Peak get in rhythm. And 3 for 3, another charge on Lone Peak. And ain't no one a fan of that call, Dusty.
No, and I'm impressed with Coach Warner. She's able to keep her wits about her. Again, you got to start on the defensive end if you're Lone Peak.
Here's Gillen. Too strong. Finian Ganofo. The putback won't go. Larson again, and she draws the foul from Hunt. That's Maylee's third.
How about this fourth quarter? It's not about Gillen. It's not about Tafisi or Finian Ganofo. It has been Larson in this fourth quarter. But buckets down the paint, timely buckets down the paint. This 10-point advantage, or 9-point lead right now, largely off of the 7 points from Larson.
In the quarter. And now a game-high 13 for the senior captain, Emily Larson. And Dusty, how about the path for Copper Hills? I mean, assuming they win this game, they beat Granger. They had to deal with Westlake in the quarters. Now Lone Peak. They'll get Bingham tomorrow. I mean, shoot, this is Copper Hills going through Region 4.
And
they
you know what?
Region 3, they're looking for a Region 4 championship in this tournament.
And I'll tell you right now, Coach will tell you he's glad he didn't get Riverton today because Riverton gives him fits. But it's exercising some demons right now. If you are Copper Hills, Lone Peak, they've got to make shots. And the ball has got to go through number 5.
That shot by Leroy. Boy, great save, though Eaton can't corral it. And it's back to Copper Hills once again.
All the things that went really, really well for Lone Peak in that third quarter have not transferred over here into the fourth. The rollover minutes came to an end. They didn't have that. As all that stuff has just gone the way of the Grizzlies.
3:02 left. The lead pushed up to 11. And you think back to that quarterfinal 2 years ago. And so interesting, it was an 11-point scoring advantage for Copper Hills that helped them to come back from behind to beat Lone Peak. And right now it's 14-7 scoring advantage in the fourth for Copper Hills that may lift them past Lone Peak in the semis to the championship as Tafisi again showing off the handles.
You see the impact of ANWA mixtape and Twitter and Vine, that this is just as exciting as hitting a 3 now. Just run a little bit of a crossover with the step back.
Foul called on Eaton here on the drive, and that is the 17th foul, the third personal on Eaton. So Tafisi to the line here to shoot 1-1. My apologies, the 8th team foul. I thought it was Tafisi, but it's Gillen.
I thought so too.
I thought Tafisi had the ball. Anyway.
I must have heard that call and didn't think much of it.
Sometimes that happens even to the best of us. Gillen with 13 now as she makes the first. One more coming up. You know, the amazing thing, Dusty, as I was preparing for this game a little bit, I went back to that quarterfinal. Let me name for you some of the players for Copper Hills that scored in that one. Brianna Gillen, Eliana Tafisi, Emily Larson, Lanisi Finian Ganofo. This is an experienced group for Copper Hills.
Yes, absolutely. And for them, they got to feel better. They've had the last time in the semifinal was a couple of years ago against Layton. That game against Bassett, as that's number 5 on Leroy. But they got to feel good. Remember that controversial inbound where they set him up on the wrong side of the floor?
Yeah.
Got to feel good.
That was against Layton, right?
Yeah.
So Leroy has fouled out. 6 points for Jane, a junior. One more year for the Lone Peak Knights is Tafisi to the line here. 1-1, that was the 19th foul, so double bonus the rest of the way. As Tafisi is the free throw, she just turns around and gives a little bit of a chuckle.
And not much you can do. As hopefully her brother's really nice to her.
I could see that from MJ, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Take care of your little sisters.
Inside, and Conley with the bucket, and a quick timeout taken here by Lone Peak. 45-34 full timeout. We'll take it with them. 2:08 left. We'll have it when we come back here in the girls 6A semifinal. Welcome back to the 6A semifinal on the Watch It Network on live.ksl and deseretnews.com. Dane Stewart, Dusty Litster, and it is a 11-point lead for Copper Hills, trying to punch their tickets to the state championship game as Tafisi and Gillen, Dusty, you mentioned it right now, just playing the clock.
And they should. And you look in this fourth quarter, we talked about in the third, frustrating. They couldn't get shots right at the rim to drop. They got some of those in this one from Larson mainly. And for Lone Peak, that last bucket, that was more of what we saw in the third quarter. They have not been able to accomplish here in the fourth to get that close look right at the rim. They were settling for a lot of threes, outside shots, and understandably so, trying to make a move. But very strong fourth quarter here from the Lady Grizzlies. Easton
will pick up the foul. And that will send Tafisi to the line.
Yeah, you think about some of the girls that have gone through this program, and you think Kirsten Wischinger, what kind of our introduction into Copper Hills basketball a few years ago, that frustrating loss, and now be able to get a chance to go and to have that feeling of go play for a state championship and do it against Bingham, just adds a lot here for Copper Hills.
Tafisi 2 of 2. 11 points now for Eliana. 1:30 left. Eaton coast to coast. Boy, just got too deep on that drive, and it's Gillen coming away with the ball.
Yeah, it's frustrating there from Eaton, and they'll put Gillen at the line, but let's take a moment and just appreciate what Coach Warner able to do this year with Lone Peak. This hasn't been, the girls basketball program, and it's hard to match what the boys have done. That's not what has been over the years. That she's slowly building it, and you get a player like Eaton, you got to take advantage when you have her for a year, and look at that, get to the semifinals. As good of a year that Lone Peak has had in girls basketball that I can recall in the last few years.
Yeah, 14-7, 5-3 in region, and I mean, Dusty, you go back and you think about their win over Bingham, and what a huge win that was to help them get the number 3 seed. Is another timeout taken here with 1:21 left, and we'll take it with them. We'll be back and finish up that thought. You're watching the 6A semifinal on the Watch It Network. .121 left, 48-34. Copper Hills with the lead, looking to advance to the state championship game. And for Lone Peak, Dusty, we were just talking about what a great year it's been, the number 3 seed out of Region 4, and the program that's being built there in Alpine.
Yeah, and we mentioned a few years ago, got in that playing game, had a buzzer beater. They might have won a first-round game that year as well. But this has been a great year for Lone Peak. Mentioned that win over Bingham, get to the semifinals. Eaton has been everything they wanted her to be on the floor anyway, and he's got a little bit of scuffle here. That's kind of been coming for a little while. But glad to see girls, cooler heads prevail a little faster than guys.
Timeout taken. 30 seconds. We'll stay here. And you talk about, Lone Peak building their program. How about what they've done in this tournament? And the number 3 seed, they had to deal with Davis in that opening round, and Davis was a team that was number 2 seed out of Region 1, and they were playing for a region championship up until about the last week and a half of the season. They get that win solidly over Davis. Second round, they have to deal with Riverton, a team that we both thought was scary in this tournament. They handle them 65-40. It's been a good run for the Lone Peak Knights, and making it to the semifinals, nothing to sneeze at.
At all. Not at all. When you look at where you've been, what you expect to do, you're in that tough Region 4. Every sport in Region 4 is really tough. Yeah. You beat Bingham. You get the semifinals. It never feels good to lose. Trust me, I coached, and it sucked when we lost the semifinals. I always hated it. But I always look back like, what were my expectations, where have we been, and what did we accomplish? And that's what you're going to look back and feel good about.
Winners of 6 of their last 7, the Lone Peak Knights. And another foul here will send Tafisi back to the line, as Easton will pick up her second with 1:05 left here in the contest.
Hey, you think about it, in that 6 in the last 7, 2 wins over Pleasant Grove, a win over Bingham, and a win over Westlake. You know, and then you go into the state tournament. So great year, great way to finish off the year. If you're Lone Peak, again, frustrating, they're not going to get to the championship. But this Copper Hills team, we knew coming in 6A, we thought they'd be one of those teams. You put up 4 teams, definitely thought they were one of them. As Tafisi with the hustle on the missed free throw.
That's the kind of player she is. I mean, she just gives you all-out effort every play. And doesn't even a chance here also to talk about Maddie Eaton, who takes that shot, misses. A senior, wrapping up her career, has been a great scorer in the state for a couple years now. And you look at what she was able to do this year. Happened more than once. Double-double, out to 12 rebounds, Bingham 10, PG 11, PG 14. I mean, a great career coming to a close here for a great scorer in Maddie Eaton.
Absolutely, and it comes from, like you mentioned earlier, a great line of play. Sisters was a star at Springville, and she went kind of blazed her own path with Maple Mountain, and then here to Lone Peak, and a great high school career for Maddie Eaton. And it's always hard to see girls that we know every year, players, doesn't matter, guys or gals, when they end, it's always kind of a sad thing. It's like, well, there goes an easy person for us to look out for. But congratulations to her on a great career.
Things are not ending for this senior class of Copper Hills. The Grizzlies, it was contested in the 3rd, but in the 4th they pull away and defeat Lone Peak 51-34. Copper Hills advances to the 6A state championship, where they will take on Bingham tomorrow at 4 o'clock right here at Salt Lake Community College and on the WATCHit Network on live.ksl and desertnews.com. Dusty, your final thoughts of this one.
Whenever you get to a championship game, getting there or winning it, there is a moment where you're backed up against the wall of faith, and it's what are you going to do when you're there? Copper Hills was losing a lead, 4-point advantage after being up double digits and looking at a team with momentum. They were able to fight off that wall and get a double-digit win. Congratulations to Copper Hills on getting to the 6A title.
The 6A state championship is set, but the 5A is not. We've got the semifinals of the 5A Girls State Tournament coming up next on the WATCHit Network on live.ksl and desertnews.com. Dusty Lister and myself will have those for you. But the final score, Copper Hills defeating Lone Peak 51-34. It'll be the Grizzlies and the Miners tomorrow on the 6A state championship. Thanks for joining us, everyone, from Salt Lake Community College. 5A semifinal coming up in about 20 minutes. We'll have that for you right here on the WATCHit Network.